You wake up tired for the day begins. Shadows linger on your skin. Coffee's cold, but you don't mind. You've been living out of time. Now it says you're doing fine, but your eyes don't lie. You smile so that they won't see the quiet breaking underneath. You carry storms in your chest like that nobody hears. You fold your hands and hold your breath just to make it through the years. You tell yourself it's temporary, the nights feel permanent. You keep pretending you're steady while your heart feels bent. But even the darkest ocean still remembers where the shore is. Even the heaviest heart still beats because it's fearless. You don't see it, but you're closer than you think. When the light feels far and the sky won't open, when your voice feels small and your faith feels broken, you are not lost, you are just becoming. Even the coldest stars still burn in the darkness. Hold on through the sides, hold on through the skies. The morning is coming, even if it feels fine. Learn to be strong before you knew your name. Built your walls out of silence, so swallowed all the blame. You answered at me, are you okay? With a practiced little rap. Bet your ribs feel tight at night like you're splitting in half. You replay every moment like it fell, you can't rewind. Looking for the second where you left yourself behind. The pain is not your prison, it's proving you've been feeling brokenness and weakness. It's how the heart can heal. Even the longest winter still surrenders to scrape. Even the smallest whisper can learn to sing. You don't see it yet, but you're closer than you think. When the light feels far and the sky won't open, yeah, when your voice feels small and your faith feels broken, you are not lost, you are just becoming. Even the coldest stars still burn in the darkness. Hold on through the silence, hold on through the skies. The morning is coming, even if it feels fine. You don't have to feel fine, you don't have to feel small. What if you think it's just the sound of you grow? What if these cracks are where the light is flowing? What if your tears are watering tomorrow? What if your fear isn't forever sorrow? You survive every night before this one. You're still here, you're still breathing, still strong. You don't have to run from the weight you carry. You don't have to shine for the world to find you worthy. The sky is wide and you are brighter. The dark is deep, but you're deeper. Somewhere beyond this heavy air, there's a sunrise with your memory. hold on to the skies. The morning is coming, it's already in your heart. I've been fighting shadows in my sleep, waking up feeling incomplete, like I owe the world a better face, like I'm always slightly out of place. I learned to shrink inside a room, make myself small to give you room. I wore apologies like clothes, even when nobody chose to ask me why I disappeared. When conversations pull too near, I've been quiet just to stay, but silence takes too much away. What if I don't have to earn every breath I'm breathing? What if I don't have to burn just to keep believing? Maybe I was never meant to carry all this weight. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay without changing who I am. Maybe I don't have to break just to prove I can. Maybe I can take up space without fear in my chest. Maybe I was always worthy even at my mess. I don't have to run away from the tears I couldn't hide. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay right here inside. I've been measuring my heart by how well I fall apart, by how much I can endure without asking for a cure. But strength is not a silent scream, or drowning just to chase a dream. It's letting someone see the cracks and never taking that back. I don't wanna live on guard, every love shouldn't be hard. Maybe healing's not a race, maybe stillness has a place. What if grace is learning slow instead of always proving? What if growth is letting go of constant self-improvement? Maybe I can trust the ground beneath my shaking feet. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay without changing who I am. Maybe I don't have to break just to prove I can. Maybe I can take up space without fear in my chest. Maybe I was always worthy even at my mess. I don't have to run away from the tears I couldn't hide. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay right here inside. I've been afraid that love would leave if I showed it all of me. The anxious thoughts, the fragile nights, the way I lose and overthink. But what if love was never meant to be impressed by confidence? What if it stays when I'm unsure, when I am trembling at the core? What if the right kind of arms don't tighten when I fall apart? What if the right kind of heart doesn't flinch at my dark? I'm tired of earning every breath and negotiating self-respect. I wanna lay my armor down without the fear of being found. Maybe gentleness is brave, maybe kindness doesn't cave. Maybe healing isn't loud, maybe I'm allowed. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay without changing who I am. Maybe I don't have to break just to prove I can. Maybe I can take up space without fear in my chest. Maybe I was always worthy even at my mess. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay and let my shoulders fall. Maybe I don't need to fade to be loved at all. Maybe I can breathe out slow, let the defenses slide. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay and still feel dignified. I don't have to run away from the truth I couldn't say. Maybe I'm soft enough to stay, and I'm okay this way. the first time. I don't need to leave. For the first time, I can just be. I've been good at keeping doors half closed, letting people near but never close, smiling like I'm not afraid of every promise ever made. I memorize the exit signs in case I need to change my mind. I keep my heart on airplane mode so no one sees the codes. I learned to love in careful ways and measured tones and safer days, but something in the way you stay makes my defenses slip away. You don't rush, you don't demand, you just reach and take my hand, and suddenly I'm wondering if I let you see me, all the fragile parts, all the hidden questions, all the heavy heart. If I let you hold me when I come undone, would you still be standing when the night is long? If I let you see me without the walls between, would you stay right here and choose the real me? There are rooms inside my chest I never let nobody in, old echoes of abandonment still whisper where you've been. I overthink the quiet space between your breath and mine, searching for a shifting tone, a warning sign. But you look at me like I'm not a problem to solve, not a storm to survive, not a risk to evolve. You look at me like I'm already enough, and I don't know what to do with that kind of love. But you don't flinch when I get scared, you don't leave when I'm unprepared, and suddenly I'm wondering if I let you see me, all the fragile parts, all the hidden questions, all the heavy heart. If I let you hold me when I come undone, would you still be standing when the night is long? If I let you see me without the walls between, would you stay right here and choose the real me? Yeah. What if I stop pretending I got everything aligned? What if I admit I'm scared of being left behind? What if I tell you that sometimes I overreact, that sometimes I build but never even crack? What if I show you the tears I hide at 2 a.m., the parts of me that feel too much for them? Would you trace the lines of every broken place? Would you hold my shaking hands and call it grace? I don't want perfect, I just want true. I don't want safety if it's not with you. So here I am, no rehearsed speech, no guarded tone, no polished reach, just me standing honestly. See me, all the fragile parts, all the hidden questions, all the heavy heart. If I let you hold me when I come undone, would you still be standing when the night is long? If I let you see me without the armor on, without the practice strength I've been leaning on, if I let you feel me without the fear in between, would you stay right here and choose the real? Choose the quiet, choose the scars, choose the healing, choose my heart. If I let you see me, I'm not hiding anymore. If I let you see me, I'm opening the door. I used to measure every step like the ground might disappear. Tiptoe through my own reflection, never standing fully here. I dim my light to match the room, adjusted just to be approved. Bend my edges into shapes that never really fit the truth. But something shifted quietly the night you looked at me, like I was not a fragile thing, but something wild and free. You didn't try to fix my cracks or smooth my history. You just stood there steady and let me be me. And I felt something open like a window in spring, air rushing in, like I could finally breathe. It wasn't you changing me, it was you reminding me. I remember who I am when I'm standing in your light, not smaller, not hiding, not bracing for a fight. I remember who I am when I don't have to pretend like I'm too much or not enough, depending who I'm with. I was never disappearing, I was just afraid to stand. Now I remember who I am. I used to call it independence, building walls that touch the sky. But the freedom is in isolation, and strength is not goodbye. You showed me quiet loyalty, not loud or overflowing, just consistent like a heartbeat, soft but always showing. And in that steady rhythm I found a deeper sound, the version of myself I thought I never found. I am not the fear I felt, not the nights I almost fell, not the voice that said I'm less than anybody else. It's like the fog is lifting from a long forgotten shore. I'm not learning something new, I've been here before. It wasn't you changing me, it was you reminding me. I remember who I am when I'm standing in your light, not smaller, not hiding, not bracing for a fight. I remember who I am when I don't have to pretend like I'm too much or not enough, depending who I'm with. I was never disappearing, I was just afraid to stand. Now I remember who I am. There was a girl before the doubt, before the silence, before the self-erase. There was a fire unapologetic, unedited, before it learned restraint. I thought growing up meant growing quiet, thought love required a smaller riot. But love doesn't ask for you to fade, it doesn't trade your light for shade. Love holds steady, love holds space, love doesn't rush or misplace grace. And suddenly I see it clear, the strength was always living here, not in perfection, not in control, but in the fullness of my soul. I remember who I am when I'm not smaller, not hiding, not bracing for a fight, but depending who I'm with. I remember who I am when I let my shoulders fall, when I speak without rehearsing, when I'm not afraid at all. I remember who I am, not a shadow, not a plan, not a version made for others, but the truth of who I am. I was never disappearing, I was just afraid to stand. Not becoming, not brand new, just returning to what was true. I used to think forever was a word too big to hold, like it would slip right through my hands, turn silver in the cold. I used to walk on edges of almost in between, afraid of leaning fully into what could be. But was feeling, or a reckless kind of high. It's quiet like a sunrise spreading through the sky. You don't promise perfect, you don't swear no pain. You just say I'm here again and again, and somehow that's enough. Side by side through the changing weather, through the long nights, through the almost better. Side by side when the ground feels unsteady, not because we feel this, but because we're ready. I don't need a guarantee or a flawless plan. If you're walking next to me, I know I can. Side by side, we'll be alright. I've learned love isn't louder just because it's strong. It's not always cinematic or written like a song. Sometimes it's folding laundry, yeah. Sometimes it's holding space. Sometimes it's quiet patience in the lines across your face. And I'm not scared of seasons or the years that pass us by, if we keep choosing each other without disguise. Yeah, you see me when I'm messy, you stay when I'm unsure, and somehow that makes everything feel steady and secure. You don't need perfection, you don't need a show. You just take my hand and let the future grow. Suddenly I'm certain, side by side through the changing weather, through the long nights, through the almost better. Side by side when the ground feels unsteady, not because we feel this, but because we're ready. I don't need a guarantee or a flawless plan. If you're walking next to me, I know I can. Side by side, we'll be alright. There will be mornings we wake up tired. There will be moments we feel uninspired. There will be doubts and unspoken fears. There will be distance across some years. But if we keep talking, if we keep trying, if we keep choosing instead of hiding, if we remember why we began, not just the feeling, but the decision to stand. And love won't be fragile or easy to break. It won't disappear at the first mistake. It will be built in ordinary light and everyday mercy, and stay in the night. And that kind of love doesn't burn too fast, it doesn't fade, it lasts. Side by side through the changing weather, through the long nights, through the almost better. Side by side when the ground feels unsteady, not because we feel this, but because we're ready. Side by side through the years unfolding, through the quiet growth, through the brave and bold. And side by side when the world feels wide, we don't need to hide. I don't need forever spelled out in the sky. If you're walking next to me, that's my why. Side by side, we'll be alright. Not ahead, not behind, just your heart next to mine. There was a time I'd hold my breath every time the lights went low. Like shadows meant catastrophe, like endings I should know. I used to brace for impact at the smallest shift in tone. Like every quiet moment meant I'd be alone. But something's different in my chest, the air is steady now. The same night sky above my head feels open somehow. The dark is still the dark, but it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't steal my oxygen or whisper shame. I've walked through worse than silence. I've lived through heavier storms. And every time I thought I'd break, I found another form. So I don't tremble like before. I'm not afraid of the dark, not the silence, not the scars, not the spaces in between where we question who we are. I'm not afraid of the night or the truth it lets me see. I've learned the shadows only show the depth inside of me. The dark can come, the winds can start, but I'm not afraid of the dark. I used to search for constant light, like brightness meant I'd win. But even stars were born inside a sky that once was dim. I thought if I was fearless, I would finally be strong. But courage is an absence of what feels wrong. It's standing in uncertainty without the need to flee. It's letting light be bigger than the fear in me. And now I see the pattern clear, the breaking and the rise. Every tear I ever cried was teaching me to survive. I face the quiet echoes of nights I thought would last. And every single one of them is somewhere in my past. So I don't tremble like before. I'm not afraid of the dark, not the silence, not the scars, not the spaces in between where we question who we are. I'm not afraid of the night or the truths it lets me see. I learned the shadows only show the depth inside of me. Let the thunder roll, let the sky collapse, let uncertainty unfold its maps. Let the questions rise, let the doubts appear. I've sat with them before, I know they're just fear. And fear is loud, but it fades with light. And light lives deeper than surface sight. I don't need control to feel secure. I don't need answers to endure. I am the proof of every fall, of every time I stood back tall. The dark isn't my enemy, it's just where growth begins. It's where I met the strength within. I'm not afraid of the dark, not the silence, not the scars, not the spaces in between where we question who we are. I'm not afraid of the night or the truth it lets me see. I've learned the shadows only show the depth inside of me. I'm not afraid of the Let it stretch across the sky. I've walked through deeper valleys and I'm still standing high. I'm not afraid of the night or the unknown in my heart. I'm stronger than the fear that tried to tear apart. The dark can come, the winds can start. But I'm not afraid, no, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the dark. Let it come, let it be. There is light inside of me. Used to search the horizon for a sign in the sky, waiting for some kind of rescue to tell me I'd be alright. I thought healing was distant, like a star out of reach, something shining for others, but not meant for me. I kept chasing reflections on what I thought I should be, every version of stronger, except the real me. But somewhere in the quiet, after all the fighting stopped, I felt something rising from the place I thought I lost. It wasn't louder than thunder, it wasn't sudden or bright. It was steady and certain, like the birth of light. And I finally understood I am the light I was waiting for. I am the strength behind every closed door. I am the hope when the sky turns gray. I am the sunrise breaking through the ache. I am not searching anymore. I am not reaching out of sight. I am the light. All the nights I survived, all the tears that I cried, they were building a fire deep inside. Every doubt that tried to rewrite my name, every fear that whispered I should shrink in shame. They were teachers in disguise, they were shaping my spine, turning fragile into fearless, one breath at a time. Now I don't need permission to take up the sky. I don't need validation to know I can fly. The glow was always in me, even when I couldn't see. It was never lost, just waiting to be free. And I am the light I was waiting for. I am the strength behind every closed door. I am the hope when the sky turns gray. I am the sunrise breaking through the ache. I am not searching anymore. I am not reaching out of sight. No more standing at the window, waiting for the storm to clear. No more asking for approval to exist right here. No more shrinking to fit, no more fading away, no more apologizing for taking space. I am the echo of every